MS Dhoni is having a very good coordination with Virat Kohli and they are taking 2 runs.
जस्ट लैंग्वेज एक ओनली बैरियर हो सकता है अगर किसी की कम्युनिकेशन में प्रॉब्लम है.
So most of the time when we talk about language is a barrier, yes, but who is responsible? Us. Everyone can link their currency and that's why it got recognized as the global currency. Same as with English.
Do you think Indian education system should have some aspects on these as well? Welcome to my new channel, all about people. And here we are going to have some amazing, interesting conversation about the people who made it possible. They broke all the barriers and created impact. So, in this journey, let's get started with our first guest, Mr. Sanket Khule, who is a soft skill trainer and have trained almost 7,000 plus people in from 2018 till now, and also awarded as Interpersonal Voice of the Year 2024. So I am so excited. I guess just a tip, please carry your note, so you would have some amazing points right there from the experienced person. So definitely don't miss it to write it down and work on it. So let's get started. Welcome, Mr. Khule. Firstly,
Thank you so much.
I just got to know your amazing numbers, like 5,000 plus students, 2,000 plus employees, and that you have trained
Yeah.
in corporate soft skills. I'm very curious to know about one thing, that like how your journey got started, because still that soft skill trainer is still not comes as a mainstream career, right? In India, people don't see, like,
Yeah.
they see engineers, doctors, like that. So how that journey of yours began, I would love to know about that.
Yeah, sure, sure. I mean, what a way to start when I have to, actually give the importance of soft skills. And I mean, in the marketing field, we used to have this communication that you can influence someone with three factors. One is logos, ethos, and pathos. And mainly when we talk about pathos, it brings a lot of emotions and into the conversation to influence someone. And I think that's what the main what do you say, the image of soft skill trainers was there in the market, right? That whenever, if we are going to talk about something, if we're going to present, mainly we are just going to give us some tools to live and to practices to follow and all that jazz. So if you talk about the journey, actually when I was in my engineering, and mainly I'll tell you this on the screen that I'm a mechanical engineer, all right? So now everyone must be thinking how a mechanical engineer got into the soft skill training field and all. So when in 2018, actually, when I was in my second year, and I received a scholarship from one of the organization, that is Sivage, where I'm working currently also. So I got a scholarship, and at the part of the process also, we used to go on every Sunday to have soft skills regarding sessions from one of the mentor, Pankaj Mittal. I still always wanted to be with him. Always I used to work with him, taking his guidance every single time. So at that time we used to attend his sessions, and generally people were attending his session just to get some skills and crack some interviews. But I got a keen into that, a keen interest that maybe isme kuch hai that I want to explore. Because since childhood I was a stage person. No matter where, if you ask me to do any sports kind of activities, dance and all, I always been that person who love to do it on stage.
The
But
first guy.
first, okay. So I used to think that this is one of the platform actually where I can work. I was not a hardcore student to study or to do that coding. I was not into that, but yet I took the admission for mechanical engineering just because of the peer pressure. Sorry if my parents are watching. It's not the way that I hated your decision, but yeah, I do it my way. And so I chose mechanical engineer, and at that time we used to attend those training sessions, and I got very well interested into that. I asked him only that I want to pursue something. I always thought to do something on stage, but I used to have this thing that मेरा content क्या होना चाहिए, what I'm going to portray is the dance, is the singing, and what am I going to be a public speaker? If I'm going to be that way, then what I'm going to presenting it. So I asked him only कि सर मेरे को explore करना है, but I want to understand how you work as a trainer. So he gave me the frameworks, he gave me the ideas. You can start from your college. So I took the first demo lecture at college, and out of 80 people I got 8. I got 8 people at that time. I was like, I was so sad at that time. Like, whatever the efforts I'm putting, it's not going in that right direction. But fortunately, in the next session, I got 63. Then from one department, they got to know, other departments got to that there is someone named Sanket who is taking some soft skill training sessions in free, because at that time I used to conduct it free of cost, no money at all, because I just wanted to explore myself into that field. So they ask you free mein hai to bula lete hain.
Right
So
way to target audience.
yeah, so department mein say I got a call from civil department, then instrumentation, and thereafter the Divya Patel Institute got to know that okay, here is the guy who is coming from engineering background but wanted to pursue something from for soft skills regard. So Dr. Diva Patel, whatever the other colleges were there, I started getting calls from there also. So from
Amazing.
department to department, then college to college, then some other colleges, then from one district to other. And after 2000, from 2018, this is where I am. So yeah, actually I'm loving enjoying this particular process. I'm not even thinking about how do I get there and what are the struggles. Whatever the struggles were there, I was
You
just
love that
enjoying
struggles.
my. I was not even considering it as my struggle. I was just enjoying the
Exactly.
process. So yeah, that's what it is.
Recently there was a conversation that I put on my like Instagram post and stories regarding that, if you are actually doing what you like, so whatever things you are facing, you won't consider that as a struggle. And
Yeah.
that exactly you said, and that is truly right, because I believe that struggle would be only there, you would put struggle as a name where you are doing the things that you don't like. So
Agree.
exactly, so otherwise it's just opposite of you are enjoying that
Yeah.
process. And that's what I guess, I'm just amazed by the numbers, because it's difficult to motivate. It's not just like you need to do it. Everyone can say no, everyone can't. That's the reality. If
Yeah.
everyone can, then there would be a very different scenario.
Yes, agree.
Like,
And we used to have that kind of perception for motivational speakers or trainers that someone like in his late 30s, early 40s
exactly.
will have some white hair, like that kind of personality, very matured, very experienced, will come over there and giving like shouted speech, and you have to do that and you have to do that.
Motivate a guy.
And that motivation will be there for 2 hours or something like that.
Exactly.
People will be fully charged and all that jazz, ki like hum ye to karenge and all that. But what happens after you get back to your home? Are you
Home.
again sitting into that comfortable position? So ideally, I thought there is a misconceptions about, or the perception about soft skill trainers or speakers or public speakers like that. I think it's a time to break it up a little bit. I think it's time to bring something different. The same way can be presented in a different way. And you don't have to shout. You don't have to, emphasize on some of the points, where you can actually tell them very subtly and they will accept that. So I thought maybe this is a one thing that can separates me from the other trainer, and decided that I wanted to go for. Earlier, I used to use a lot of poems and all that in my conversation. Then I thought maybe I'll bring my stand-up comedy skills. Again, I'm saying I'm very pathetic at stand-up. Okay, I'm not gonna try it over here again. But yeah, started taking that initiative, try to see how I can connect with the audience. And that stand-up wala part came into this. Like they want something fresh, they want something funny enough to start, and so that they will feel comfortable with me, and then
Exactly.
whatever the points I have to say, they will agree on that, or maybe they will think about it. So that's the only thing I started taking in different directions, and I feel that somewhere it's giving me a USP to sell it out for myself.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're doing is what you are saying. So that's what people get attracted post
Yeah.
like. So that's the kind of thing that we are as a adults, or as a, and like in any age, people are looking to get motivated in that way rather than using just words.
Yeah.
Your actions does do matter.
Yeah.
There's an article in Pumble, in the recent article, where it is mentioned that 86% of the employees and executives lack effective communication.
Yeah.
What could be that reason according to your experience? What could be that cause, and what should we do for that?
I I remember recently when I was doing some training for senior fellows actually, and at the time I was talking about this effective communication and teamwork and others. I performed one activity, and I still remember a very good scenario in that, and the laughter I created again. That stand up stuff will go on. So what I did that I will ask one captain to come up with me, and I'll give it some set of actions and all that stuff, and then other teammates are standing in line facing at that side of the session, and he will just come up and giving this actions to replicate and to other, and ask them to copy and move it around, and to see whatever the actions that he had performed earlier are the same with the last point. And early at that time, people used to mess it up a lot, and we used to laugh on that factor. But at that point, I realized that when we talk about communication as a parameter, when we see people are lacking communication, it's not the fact that they are not able to speak. It's not the fact that they are not able to speak in English. If that would have been so they wouldn't be cracking interviews and they would have been not getting jobs in the
True.
fields they are working. So at least they are doing something correct. But when it comes to the office communication, there is a big confusion between the intention of sender and receiver. I feel most of the time, in any argument or in any communication, let's not keep it just professional and corporate, even in the personal relationships for that matter, if we have to take, most of the time the arguments come on one point कि मैं जो बोलना चाह रहा हूँ तुम्हें वो समझ नहीं आ रहा, तुम कुछ और समझ रहे हो. So the main cut point over here is the intention or the context that you wanted to share. Is it the same that receiver is receiving in that way?
Exactly.
Then of course every single time is confusion is gonna happen, that whatever I'm trying to say you're not getting it, or maybe the receiver will say I am thinking in this way, which is again not in alignment with what you are saying. So communication over here, it's about perception, and someone has to understand whether it's the receiver or whether it's the sender. And I would suggest both of them should understand different scenarios of one word and one sentence, whatever has been spoken. So I think when it comes to communication, it's all about perception that creates from the message that you want to send. And even sender has to understand, okay, like if I am sending a message, how it's getting interpreted to the audience. Is it going in some different directions if it's doing something like that? So they have to understand the sender's intention, why he is saying so. So it's all about understanding the context and perception. It's all about
Exactly.
that. If it's that's done, you have seen people doing eye contact and having a good communication.
Communication.
They will be
Exactly.
in sync. Most of these reality shows also, when we talk about, when they perform any activity, they have an eye contact. Whenever we are thinking about any kind of game also, recently there was, as IPL season is going on, so
Yes.
recently there was so many Instagram reels were coming that look at MS Dhoni is having a very good coordination with Virat Kohli and they are taking 2 runs. What do you think, they're talking over there कि 2 run लेना है Chico and भागना है and all that? So they are not talking. They have a coordination with themselves. They have that kind of possessions ki yes, he is asking for 2, I am ready for 2, I am giving his intent, eye contact on that kind of stamping. Now they are into the same page to do the work. So over here it's all about understanding someone's message and also sending a message in that way so that he will understand in your
Exactly.
requirement. So that's all about the communication. I think these body language parts and your pitch and tone will be only toppings to the base, but the base of that pizza should be the understanding of the message. Then these are all add-ons to that, but the base foundation is all about the understanding the message. That's what I think.
Exactly. Got your point. So, like, I was just thinking in back of the zone where you talk about the IPL, and we realize like it's not about like if the strategy changes or something like that on the field. They don't talk. They don't go there and talk. They just
Yeah.
communicate with the language.
Yeah.
Kind of understanding they built throughout the years while working on themselves.
Yeah.
So that is the important part that I think could be the life changing moment for them who are going to was actually experiencing lack communication problem, or you say any confidence problem related to while you speak something. So that could be the one of the reason. Second thing I was just recently, like few months back, I was just thinking about I was learning a new language, so I was just trying to go out some words, some points, and while just doing all those research, I got to understand that uh, जस्ट लैंग्वेज एक ओनली बैरियर हो सकता है अगर किसी की कम्युनिकेशन में प्रॉब्लम है. सो बैरियर सिर्फ लैंग्वेज रिलेटेड ही होगा, क्योंकि एक सिनेरियो ऐसा होगा कि ओके इफ आई नो कोरियन लैंग्वेज देन इट्स ओके टू कम्युनिकेट, बट इफ आई डोंट नो कोरियन लैंग्वेज सो मेरे लिए वो डिफिकल्ट होगा एटलीस्ट नेटिव लोगों से बात करने के लिए. फर्स्ट थिंग. सेकेंड सिनेरियो ये है कि अभी भी ऐसे लोग हैं जो अपनी लैंग्वेज से रीजनल आइदर मराठी, हिंदी, वॉट एवर लैंग्वेजेस, सो वो अवेयर है अपनी लैंग्वेज में, वो उनको फ्लुएंसी है, सब कुछ है, बट दे आर स्टिल नॉट उन्हें अभी भी वो है ना अंडरस्टैंड करने में है ना प्रॉब्लम होती है और उतना समझाने में भी प्रॉब्लम होती है. सो देर आर सम सिचुएशंस की आप लैंग्वेज आपको आती है पर आप समझा नहीं पा रहे हो. दैट हैपेंस इन रिलेशनशिप, वर्क प्लेस, everywhere. So what could be the instant solution, or not instant, what could be the solution for that, where people improve their own language, where they what they know about that. So that is the thing.
Yeah. So again, I mean, most of the time when we have, as you said, that okay, mother tongue is something. Let's say I'm taking an
Exactly.
example of Marathi. Let's say I'm very good at Marathi,
Mhm.
and I have noticed. Okay, contrary to the question, I have noticed most of the time people have a lot of excuses also for not understanding a particular language. Let's say even I have seen many of the time if I'm speaking in Marathi and if I'm using some of the English words or maybe some of the English sentences I'm using in English in that particular communication, they have that persona. Okay, yeah, I bada Angrez. They have that
Exactly.
kind of perception कि why is this particular point to show off your English communication skills? I don't think so. They are thinking in that way, and they are thinking अच्छा इसको अपनी language से प्यार नहीं है क्या? That kind of obsession with your own mother tongue is going to kill you a lot.
A lot.
Right. And most of the time I have seen in the corporates when their English also gets influenced with this mother tongue slangs and all that, and we used to call it as MTI, mother tongue influence. So talking about other languages, of course, it's going to take a time. English is also not the language that we have been speaking since childhood, although we have studied almost 3 languages at the same time, and we have started it from
Exactly.
the same time. Let's say taking an example of Marathi, Hindi and English, that Marathi will get replaced by Telugu and all regional language,
Regional
but Hindi
language.
will being
Be mandatory.
international and English being international.
Right.
We have communicating, or maybe we have been learning these 3 languages since childhood. Why is it happening that we are so comfortable with regional language? Number one. Second is Hindi, and then after, if at all required, then we'll be comfortable with English.
Exactly.
Because of the environment that we are into, they are not considering these languages as their daily communication. They consider it as a I'm not getting exact word actually for that, but they will consider that that person is showing off his language skills. If I'm speaking in Hindi to the audience who is actually Marathi, they will say like, "Ha, ye kyun itna Hindi? We can understand in Marathi and all that." So most of the time when we talk about language is a barrier, yes, but who is responsible? Us, for
Exactly.
creating that environment. Even in that the workplace, I've seen people, they will come at communication trainings, they will come at English speaking, and at that time they will speak in English, and that's fine. The moment after they will get out of that session
Back
hall, they will, अरे चाय के जाते, अरे चाय के लिए बहुत बढ़िया सेशन था. They are not even giving that feedback in English. At least उतना कर लो. So the question over here is, if you want to really learn a language, you have to live with that.
Exactly.
The way we are living with our mother tongue languages, and in Hindi also for that matter, we are very comfortable with that, because we've been watching serials or any
Everything.
movies in that language, so we are comfortable with that. We are not comfortable with English because we have not done that same practice for this language, and now this language is coming as a barrier.
Exactly.
No one is responsible but us for this mess that we are creating. That if someone only out of 10 people is confidently talking in English, we will stop him, or we will keep him down for speaking in English. Or maybe if we are not understanding, then we'll have a vague excuse. मेरे से बात करनी है तो मराठी में बोल, I'm a Maharashtrian. मेरे से बात करनी है तो हिंदी में कर, I'm Indian.
A lot is happening.
So what are you trying to portray? Your weaknesses, or someone is showing off with that skill and you're not agreeing with that? What are you trying to do? So that's something very wrong is happening in not just corporate world, but in overall when it comes to communication. And that's why we have this language kind of barrier. Some of them will not understand, might be not familiar with any other language, and they don't even want to explore that. And I can agree with regional language, because that's might not be necessity to understand or learn many regional language, but at least I believe that you should have some visibility on your national and international language, of course, that is being English, so that wherever you go, at least you will survive. At that case, you will be able to interact with people. Right. If we started promoting globalization in terms of languages also, then everyone will not feel left out at some different places. Taking example of Korea for that matter.
True.
If they are well enough in English also, even though you are an Indian, maybe you might not have that much of visibility in Korean language, at least you know, कुछ नहीं तो मैं हिंदी इंग्लिश में बात करके I can survive that situation. Right.
Exactly.
If we started promoting globalization in language also, there won't
True.
be any barrier as such then. If then understanding different language will be a fun to live it. It might not be the necessity. So if I have to move out to China for, let's say, for any kind of work, and I know that people over there are not comfortable with English. Maybe even I'm not comfortable with their language, but then it's my necessity to learn it. Now I'm not gonna enjoy the process.
True.
Now every single time I'm gonna have the pressure कि मेरे को वहाँ पे survive करना है, that's why I have to learn Chinese. ऐसे तो मेरे को कोई interest नहीं था.
Interest nahi hai, exactly.
So you have to create that interest, and how to create that interest once that pressure is off from you. We have that kind of pressure because they are considering language as a barrier, because they have been obsessed with their own languages only, and they are considering English as okay, corporate language. It has value at workplace, and that's it. Once we are out of it, we are comfortable with our languages.
People mostly forget that English is like a global language. आप भाग ही नहीं सकते उस language से.
Yes.
आपको कैसे भी उसे face करना है.
Yeah.
Either you go, like if you go, let's say China, Korea, any place, what they will understand your English. That's the common language
Yeah.
that you connect. And rather than if someone is taking loan to get the admission in one of the international colleges, Symbiosis, anyone, let's say, let's name it, okay. But they are not ready to, take an effort to learn out the language that requires most. Either you pay 35 lakhs, or either you pay 15 lakh, or either you pay 5 lakh for the course.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't matter if you are not able to speak English, because the thing is, every presentation, even if you're working as an engineer, whether working as in marketing, especially in marketing, how can you communicate to your clients?
Exactly.
So, and learning a global language is not a crime, is not a shame, and people need to understand this. Okay, we love Hindi, that is anyhow going to be a thing, but if you are ready to pay, ready to use your all savings for a particular course, so why you are not ready to work on yourself to learn that particular language? Is that
Yeah.
your mindset is killing you from inside, that no, I don't want to know, or is there any kind of pressure or fear that you are dealing with?
Yeah. And it can be both then.
Exactly.
Maybe the pressure also, and maybe my comfort zone.
My comfort
Why do
zone.
I have to do it? Why do I have to
It's
do
going
it?
it's going to kill, like, in many ways, comfort zone.
Exactly. And at the time, most of the time people used to ask me, why is it English so important at communication? हम लोग अपने language में बात कर सकते हैं. We are good at Hindi. When it comes to Indian workplace, we can use Hindi, and that's a very easy language to go for. I used to give a very good example of World War II at that time, when the whole economy of most of the European country was falling at that time, and they decided to link their currencies with American dollar because it was stable. Okay, and that time US dollar ka value got increased a lot.
I know.
That dollar got got recognized as a stable currency. Now, if we ask, what is the international currency that we use? American dollars. We are linking our currencies with American dollars. American dollars are linking their currency, the dollar, with gold.
Exactly.
Right. That was the scenario. Now it's the thing that it is stable. It was stable at that time. Of course it is. So it was stable at that time. Everyone can link their currency, and that's why it got recognized as the global currency. Same as with English.
True.
I mean, and something I feel that Britishers has that influence of having almost 24% of the world as their territory for one time, and spreading that particular language, English. Now you cannot escape from this situation. In global level, English is there. You want to survive your professional career, it's mandate to go for. So if there is no option, you cannot escape from that, then ideally pressure is on everyone. It's not just you who is facing that challenge, it's everyone who is facing. Then why is happening that some of them who are facing this pressure, they are doing very well, but you're not doing very well in that particular stuff. You're struggling with that. Then comes the comfort space wala part. That maybe they have broken that particular filter. Then I don't have to just be obsessed with my language. Maybe I can learn something new also. Right. And they started working on that. They got it realized in early. Whereas still some of the employees are, having that kind of obsession with their regional language, and then giving some excuses, let my work talk for myself, I don't have to communicate, and that. jazz. So it's not gonna help them. It's going to actually things will get worse for them at the workplace.
Actually, in today's working atmosphere or scenario, I would definitely say work don't talk until and unless you make your work to talk
Yeah.
like the way you do. Exactly. So it's not about okay, you can talk in Hindi. There is no, you can with your friends definitely. Who is going to talk in English
Yeah.
when you are sitting in your with your friends, chilling on the beach and having your fun time with? No one is going to talk in. Obviously, they are going to talk with the comfortable language. But the thing is, uh, giving an excuse, the way you mentioned, like give
Yeah.
an excuse that okay, I can, just because you are fearing to get into that step, and just because people have more fear of trying the things.
Trying the things.
I don't know why it come from. Maybe it's because stick to the online media and social media and just stick to that continuous routine makes you feel that way, or maybe some kind of insult, or maybe some kind of past traumas or experiences that you have gone through. I don't know, but yeah, people are actually feared
Fear
of
of
trying
trying.
out some new things. They don't think as in a kick or boost in their life.
Yeah.
They just think no, jaisa hai chalne do. Why we need to do change? If you are not going to change, your salary is going to be like 30,000, 30,000, 30,000. Even after
You will
3
follow
years.
the mandate
Exactly.
salary, and you have to be satisfied with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that you have told, right? That people are not just stick to their comfort zone, and comfort zone is the uh, best thing actually, but
In the present.
yeah, is the best thing, but is the worst damage that can do for the future that you are looking out for yourself. So
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
the actual thing that I've looked
And
at.
people had that kind of attitude that you rightly mentioned about let my work talk for myself,
Exactly.
and we have people in different organization who had that kind of attitude. Okay, let my work speak for myself, let my code speak for myself. My manager is already reading it up, and he will rate me based on the work that I'm doing, the code that I'm doing, and all that. And I have created one training on that front, and I used to give this particular example. Who is going to give a damn about your work if you're not going to show it off? Then you're
Exactly.
thinking, no one is appreciating me. They will appreciate you once they will be able to see your work. Your manager may be able to see your work from your dashboard. Okay, that's fine. Maybe your client will appreciate again on the dashboard. That is not getting reflected towards the colleagues and all that. But if you want to showcase your leadership skills, your managerial skills, the only way that you can do it by communicating. And
Exactly.
I always recommend people that show off your work.
It's
If you
important.
have done hard work in that, you have worked so hard, it's your rightful thing to show off.
Exactly. It's your duty
It's
to
your
do you.
duty to show
Exactly.
off, because if you are not going to do that, someone else is going to take that lead, and then he's going to get the exposure in the teammates that yes, he is doing the job and he
And
can carry the team. And all of this perception, then you will think, why this is not happening with me, why I'm not getting any kind of exposure towards the leadership things and all that. For leadership, these are the things that you have to work on your managerial skills. Leadership and main is communication. If you are feeling that I don't have to show off my work, then of course the work is not going to show you off in the field of professional world. It's
true.
just going to pay you enough, and already the organizations are paying you enough for that. If you are expecting an increment, your work should also get increase in some manner, and some of the things which are very well important is your communication. And even we might have seen in the organization, most of the time these managers or the scrum masters or the leaders who are working in the software industry, at one point of time they were also engineers, software engineers, junior software engineer trainee, then they will get promoted to analyst and all that. Till the analyst position, I think I agree, you are getting promoted on your technical skills. But if you want to go on a lead position, if you want to manage the team, at that time you have to show off your skills.
True.
And that's the only opportunity to show off in meetings, in calls, while negotiating with the client. If the team is seeing you talking over there, they will get feel that this can be our successor, our leader. Then they will have a trust on you. If you're just sitting there and then you're doing your job 100%, nothing at all, nothing wrong in that. But is it getting the exposure that it deserves? Answer is no. And then if you're expecting, why am I not getting paid with
It's
this much
being
and why am I
partial.
not?
The company is being partial. Yeah, so well discussed here. There is a thing like in Indian education system, I still remember my subjects: English, Marathi,
Hmm.
Hindi,
Hindi.
MS, moral science, and all that stuff. But there was no particular subject such as like personality development, soft
Hmm.
skills, and
Hmm.
still it's not. Do you think Indian education system should have some aspects on these as well?
Yeah, I do. And I think it's not necessary to get harsh directly up to there
Exactly.
to add those topics into that, but at least we can initiate
Practical
some of the
experience,
things.
exactly.
And I think Indian education system had some of the initiative, let's say public speaking
Yep.
competitions ho gaye, or any kind of stuff where they can promote their communication. It's there. It's up to the students also. Like, just imagine if there is a speech contest, and if a particular standard has 200 students in one, let's say 10 standard has
Hmm.
200 people, 200 students in one standard. Now we have first standard to 10th standard. Just imagine number of students, I'm just saying. Have you seen all of them participating in a speech competition?
No,
No. How
exactly.
many? Not even
Not
10%.
even
Like
10%.
less than 10% of them will participate in speech competition. Why? Biggest fear. अगर मेरा कुछ गलत हो गया तो what's gonna happen?
People will laugh.
People will laugh. I know, you have
Exactly.
that kind of line in Hindi books or something. एक था कविता, कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे.
लोगों का काम है कहना.
That's the solution. And that's the solution. I've so many times I've told this into my sessions and all that, that you will have this particular fear of kuch to log kahenge, but the answer is in the next sentence itself. It's they are going to talk and they're going to do it. So it's not that Indian education system, of course they need to update, being very honest, and not just soft skill, but in terms of the real life skills that are
Real
very
life
very
skill,
essential at
exactly.
the work. Even I still remember that in till 12th science I was studying physics, maths, and chemistry. Nothing wrong about that. Nothing. That's okay. That's might be the essentials things to work on. Later on, I got into engineering. I started learning M1, M2, M3, and that programming jazz and all that. I was mechanical engineer, so I was not comfortable with coding language. Yet I start studying that. Okay, I have to be relevant in the TCS or in any kind
Any
of
company.
market where I was getting placed at that time. I have to learn these kind of languages. Okay, I studied that language. I got placed into TCS. What project I got? It is SAP. So it's a SAP logistical app that you have to work on as a
Okay.
tester. So whatever the 4 years of engineering, 12 years of that particular schooling never came for help at that time. The only thing came in for my help was my communication skills. Because I was handling UK clients and US clients, I was able to speak with them very well. I was able to communicate with. That's the only thing that helped me throughout this 12 plus 4 wala journey. Other than that, those technical skills, whatever we learned, are still nowadays it has been outdated. Somewhere it's the time that we have to, let's say, not dismantle everything, but yes, these kind of stuff we have to start taking some of the initiatives also, is what I
Exactly.
feel.
Like there is a
Yeah,
mandatory subject for science. Like you, if you don't like it, you need to do that science like till at least
exactly,
ninth or 10th. So
exactly.
that why can't we take approach like the China schools do take?
Do agree
I
very
am
well.
actually going to appreciate China. I know there are many issues that apart from that,
We
look
love India, by
at,
the way.
yeah, we definitely do. No doubt here. But apart from going with the wars or any political or democratic department, just ignore that.
Hmm.
But look at their skills and the way the government school worked. You
Worked,
won't
yeah.
believe it, like a 3 year old, a 4 year old kid literally playing basketball with the balls and with so in sync that you will be amazed that why, like what are we doing? We are
Yeah.
just using our blank space in our mind and just abusing someone on social media, or not, just trying to pull someone down, or just I don't know what kind of thing we are just putting ourselves behind, as compared to China school. Like amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
They know how to cook, they know
Yeah.
how to maintain the discipline, they know how to make things work, they know how to work on themselves. It's not about kind of appreciating China in some other ways, but yeah, look at the way they have
Yeah.
developed the mindset. So there are many people, there are billionaires in China. When you look out the China, when you visit China, we'll get to know
Yeah,
the
yeah.
kind of architect, the kind of things they have built, the kind of knowledge they have, the kind of, there was a student who beat the human calculator, like called a human calculator and beats AI. Who can
Mhm.
do that right
Yeah.
now in front of AI, where AI can do anything right now,
Anything.
like
Agree.
coding. If you are saying that you would code and your work would show up, then just wait for some more
Some more
time.
years, AI
Like
will take it over
it
then.
will take
Yeah,
take
yeah.
your code, and now then on your behalf, not on your behalf, AI will show how to code
Yeah,
better
yeah.
than you.
Yes,
But
of
AI
course.
won't replace a thing, the way you communicate. So
Yes,
that's
agree.
the important factor where our skills are leading. I know there are some important things. Okay, regional languages are important, but you won't believe there are still colleges in Pune after 12th is going to have some civil ethics. I
Yeah,
just believe that civil ethics is so lacking in India.
yeah,
Against that we can't even speak. If someone is
of
lacking
course.
civic ethics, and it feels like, okay, just stop that guy, but we can't do it because
Yeah,
we are in India, we can't
yeah,
speak about that. So that is the one issue I feel that we can teach more
yeah, agree.
from the age of like fifth standard, sixth standard, or either just more before that.
Yeah, and to add upon that, not just China, I used to take this example of Japan. I mean, the
Exactly.
moral education that
Agree.
they have. I mean, there was a popular story that one motivational speaker gave at one time, that there was an Indian guy and there was a Japanese guy who were driving from a car, and that Japanese guy stopped his car because the signal was red, and at the time of 12 in the midnight, Indian was thinking ki, like, why is not crossing the lane? I mean, who is watching him that crossing the lane without the red signal? So he asked him कि तू cross क्यों नहीं कर रहा है? And he said, today I will cross, but if someone looking me from any of the window of a building, if a child is looking at me, he will consider this, that at night you can break the signal. Just imagine
Amazing.
why he would give a damn about that child, that let him see. And we have that perception in India, let others see,
Let others see. Yeah.
let them think on their own way, I'm gonna do it on my own way. And whereas in other countries like Japan, they have so strong moral ethical education that they will wash their own clothes from childhood, they will clean. It has been there in their upbringing over there. It's not just education, it's all about upbringing
Exactly.
over here. And when we talk about, taking an example of China, that they are so, as you rightly mentioned, a 3-year-old kid is playing basketball. I mean, he is clear where he has to go. In our education, as of now, also, whether it's the liberty that we are still struggling for, even after 12th, after scoring also good percentage, yet we are not able to take a decision on our own, that whether should I go for
Exactly.
engineering. And I can be a very good example for that stuff. I had an interest in chemistry earlier. I wanted to pursue in that, but the market was not there for chemistry, so I chose BCA. It's a very interesting journey. Now literally it will be a my roasting session, but yeah, I mean, I'll take it up
No,
over
no, we
there.
won't roast you, don't
Yeah.
worry.
No, I would love to roast it on my. So there was a time when I actually loved chemistry and I wanted to be a chemistry professor at that time when I scored a good amount of marks in that. So I decided that, but later on everyone was saying उसमें scope नहीं है. I mean, what will do? You will do BCS, then you will do MSc in chemistry, and you will be a professor. But there is no actually career growth in that. Again, I got a pressure over there. Also, no one is letting me to decide on my own way. Everyone started pressurizing me. Then again, I thought maybe let's go. यहाँ पे computer का बहुत ज़्यादा trend है. I don't want to go in engineering, but I'll do BCS or BCA. Then again, everyone started doing BCS का top package is computer engineering का mid or least package. Then go for engineering now. Why are you not going for any other field? Why? Then again, it got pressurized for me to go into engineering field. Again, at that time, I realized my scores are not justifying with the department. I might not be fit enough. And even, of course, the allocation of college system gave me the same thing. I didn't get the computer department. I got mechanical. Then everyone's saying, अरे कोई problem नहीं है, mechanical engineering में जाके you can still learn coding if you want. अगर mechanical में अच्छा career बनता है तो you can do that. Otherwise, you can go into software. Just imagine that even after completing your 12th, even after having voting rights for that matter, we have right to vote,
True.
and no one is watching us at that time, but we don't even have a right or liberty to take our educational decisions, where a 3-year-old kid has that clarity where he has to go, now how he has to go, that kind of surrounding, that kind of environment, somewhere we have to build. And not just by government is not going to do everything for us, being very
True.
fair. If it's not coming on the ground level, government will always try to take some new opportunities, new initiatives, and that will just get phased out.
True.
I mean, we at one time used to have this cleanliness movement
Hmm.
in India, that Swachh Bharat.
Search Bharat, yes.
Are you agree
Swachh
that
Abhiyan.
it's in full swing?
No.
Of course not. What happened? They initiated, and to be honest, I'm
Exactly.
appreciating the government to do that. These kind of stuffs are there, but it should have been earlier in the moral ethics wala stuff that has to be there.
Like people should be scared. Like if you are throwing some things on the road, no, it's not the right thing.
Exactly.
Just like taking drugs. It's like
Yes.
your approach should be like that way.
My perception will be, rather than having subjects, let's say for example, I'm not even pointing out to any subject, if a person is not interested in history for that matter,
Mm.
there was World War One, happened World War, these things have happened. Now what I'm going to do about that? If that person is not interested, at least that person should have the liberty to select another topic which might be relevant for that. At least that person, that kid, that student has to have that liberty to select subjects on his own strengths, interest, hobby, or maybe interest of study. He can choose, let's say, 5 or 6 subjects, and then the ratings will be on those subjects itself. I mean, that at least no one will blame the educational system, no one will blame the parental, the upbringing that they have, because now students have the liberty, but somewhere we have to give it. Now is the thing that we are keeping some of these kind of stuff mandate. I mean, 3 languages, then science, mathematics, history, and geography. We are keeping these subjects mandate, and I agree. Chalo, theek hai, it's a part of the process here. Are you keeping physical education mandatory?
Exactly.
Are you keeping that? Are you keeping your art and cultural stuff? Just we used to have this drawing.
Exactly.
Let me know if there is any school which is promoting drawing subject in the mandatory at boards exam. No one is there.
No one.
No one is there. Why? Because just it's a perception game that drawing can be very well appreciated from one teacher. It might not be with the same with the other. At least physical education, art, culture, these kind of, let's say, soft skill, human skills. Let's not call it soft skills also. Let's call it human skills. These are the subjects that has to be mandatory, because these are the things AI cannot replace.
Exactly.
AI
This is the
cannot
thing.
replace your physical abilities. AI is not gonna replace the negotiations that employees are doing with clients. AI is not gonna negotiate the managerial skills that you're actually implementing, the interaction that you have with your teammates, the bonding that you're creating, the orders that you're giving, the favors that you're asking. AI cannot replace that.
Exactly.
These are the things that has to be there. And even at the time, somewhere we have to come up from this textbook stuff to the real life one. I mean, at that time, I used to hate history, to be honest. Like Hitler attacked and all that World War. Why am I studying on that? But now, recently, when I watch videos in YouTube, I got so fascinated about that.
Exactly.
This was the real life scenario. When we joined real life footage to that, it feels so nostalgic. If I have a time machine, I would have want
definitely
to go and to see, let's say, how that particular politician has spoken for that time, how was those conferences were, how were those attacks were there, and I wanted to see that. That's kind of interest we have to create for the students. We cannot go with the textbook oriented language anymore. And something, of course, soft skills, personality, these are the things has to go in upbringing, not just with education but with the upbringing, and has to do with moral educations a lot.
Exactly. We made the books, we write the n number of factors, but not including themselves. So that is the major issue, that AI cannot replace the humans. It's like a long run. So you can't.
And to be honest, I think, and at that time it was he told that robot that I have created you. That means I have powers to destroy you also. Maybe I have power to take you down. Same goes with these kind of tools. They're not gonna, replace your creativity. Humans have created a particular tool for their productivity and all that. It's not gonna replace. It can help you, of course. And even there are many of the classes now. If this particular tools like AI or Chat GPT, if everyone is saying that it's going to take take over human, then why we are launching some of the master class for
True.
that stuff to master chat gpt and master ai? Because we know we can use it, but that particular tool is not going to take us down with our
True.
creativity that we have, with the communication that we can do, with the personality that we have. They are not going to take it up away from us. We have created, we can take them away from the market field, but they cannot take us.
They cannot walk for you, they cannot talk for you. So it's
Exactly.
exactly like that.
We are the creator of that, and we can take over. We know its weaknesses also. Most of the time, those images, whichever are getting uploaded. Recently, there was
Ghibli.
a trend, and again,
Ghibli.
saying directly, Ghibli effect. I mean, there was a image. Ladies were there for some Hinduism ritual. I think it was, if I'm not wrong, it was either Chhat Puja or Karwa Chauth ka. So there was a photo, and they were carrying coconuts in their thali, like a nariyal, and they turn it into Ghibli effect and all that. बहुत अच्छा photo था, everything went well, but what happened, एक नारियल what got edited as a human head, and it got so viral recently. If you even search it on YouTube, you will get, because that particular image got so hyped up in market of Instagram and social media ki image change ho rahi hai, every nariyal is there, and then there is one nariyal that got replaced with a human head. Just because, so AI is not perfect.
Yeah, AI
You
does
are
make
perfect.
mistakes.
You can create that, so it has its own limitations. No one is going to rely on that. Even though you are saying that it will take over, it's not going to take over because it has a lot of limitations. A BB.
Exactly.
Even now also, if we have to recognize an AI generated video and a real video, we still can do that because there are a lot of limitations in frames, angles, or the expression that particular
Even the approach.
even
When
the
you
approach.
put the prompt, the
Yeah,
approach is definitely
approach
different.
is gonna different. So yes, they have limitations and they're not gonna take us down. We have created and we can take a strong lead ahead of them, I
Exactly.
feel.
We can control that thing and we
Yeah.
can use it for our own benefit.
Yeah,
So
agree.
that is the case. Recently, like this trend only, I just watched this trend going viral, and in middle of that, one reel came up where an artist was drawing, and she was a cartoon artist.
Mhm.
She's from, I don't know exactly, from I guess from Japan or maybe Miami. I don't know exactly if she
Mhm.
would be shifted. So she used to वो पार्क में बैठी थी वो, एंड वो है ना कार्टून्स ड्रॉ कर रही थी, कार्टून कैरेक्टर्स ड्रॉ कर रही थी ह्यूमन के.
Hmm.
So she made used to sit people and draw the cartoon perspective and show them to the people.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was so amazing,
Amazing.
to, and you can feel that touch no AI can give at that time.
Exactly.
I was like, and she started this from the age of 4 years old. I don't know
Mhm.
exactly her name.
Mhm.
From it named as a ninja artist. It
Mhm.
called as a ninja
Mhm.
artist. So her business is like named as a ninja artist. Family background artistic, and the way she put out all those characters in a funny way, and people were enjoying that.
Enjoying that.
AI can't give it. Like
Exactly.
it can be, that trend went viral. It for, like, you can say for 2 days, 3 days. After, I also thought to create that trend because I was like, wow, it's so good. It's so
I
looking.
have created, by the way. Yeah.
I was thinking, I was like, okay, let's pay something. It's okay, 2,000 for some memory. It's okay, it's fine.
Oh, have you paid? You paid?
No, exactly.
Okay.
No, I am not going to.
Of course.
It's like way back. दिमाग से भी चला गया. So it's vanished. बट वो जो रियल आर्ट मैंने अभी भी देखी थी ना, आई स्टिल विश कि मैं कभी कभी ऐसे उस लेन में ट्रैवल करूँ और मुझे वो मिले, एंड आई वुड लिटरली पे व्हाटएवर अमाउंट शी आस्क फॉर, एंड आई जस्ट वांट हर ड्राइंग that I can carry her with myself. So,
and you know, we have seen, and this with social media creators also, some of them will get recognition for a shorter period. Like recently there were so many memes like hey Hari Ram and all that stand out. Those memes got hyped up for some time. Then there was a lady, I'm not gonna tell you what exact was it, that she got hyped up in, but nowadays some of the creators who have that authenticity in their content and they have already been connected with the audience, they will remain as it is. No matter which wave comes, no matter which one is getting hyped up, no matter what, if they have creating a genuine content, they will get connected with the audience. They're going to stay over there. You will watch this Ghibli effects and all that. Exactly. But again, after some time it's gonna get phased out. Again, we are gonna back to the OG creators of those arts, as you have mentioned, exactly. And we'll always seek some genuine content from that. So that's the, again, Same thing is going to happen with the AI. It will create some hype for some days. Again, it's going to come back to the normal. So it's going to happen. And that's the nature of the human being. Whatever new thing comes around, we hype it up so much that, oh, everyone is just following that particular trend. And after some time, it will get phased out. It's the same as life. That's
Exactly.
fine.
Communication equals to soft skill. This is the approach of India. So what do you think? Communication, just soft skills, if communication तक ही related है, there are many aspects to it.
No, I would say uh, communication will be a branch of tree named soft skills. It's a
Yes.
branch. Not everything is about communication, because I have seen people playing two-side game in a lot at workplace. At the time of communicating with clients, or let's say colleagues and all that, they are very good. They are fab at communication and all that. Right after the call ends, not necessarily they will be the same person in front of you. That is the one thing. Again, if you are very well communicating with the clients, with your stakeholders, not necessarily you will be integral to the work. Not necessarily. Again, not necessarily you will complete everything in deadline. Maybe you might be so well in communication. Maybe you will ask very gracefully to some time to extend that. You are, in terms of communication, you're fab, because now you are able to negotiate the deadline. But are you good with your integrity towards work? Are you able to say yourself that that you are very good at time management? Communication is branch of a tree called soft skills, but there are a lot of branches, sub branches, and it's not the only one to focus at. We used to have a section between soft skills, or let's say human skills for that matter. One is going to be the communication, how you talk, where you talk, what you talk, in front of whom you're talking. It's all about speaking, or it's all about portraying your thought. It might be written, it might be non-verbal, and it can be verbal. These are the communication stuff. We have a lot of things to cover up in the behavioral aspect also. Are you managing your time? Are you prioritizing your work? Are you good with your work life balance? Are you good with your emotions? Are you taking frustration on your colleagues? At the time of communication, you might be very good, but are you taking frustration on your employees? Because if it's that so, then you're not good at behavioral stuff. Are you not punctual at your work? Are you not attentive to the sessions? Attentive to your work, attentive to your calls, like that? If that is the case, then communication is not giving or not helping you to be the person. It's one of the, but not the equal to soft skills.
सो देर इज़ अ थिंग ऑन यूट्यूब, लाइक अगर मैं सर्च करूँगी कि आई वॉन्ट टू इम्प्रूव माई कम्युनिकेशन और पर्सनैलिटी बाई एनी थिंग, सो एक सॉर्ट ऑफ वीडियो कलेक्शंस आ जाएगा, सजेशंस आएंगे मुझे कि आई विल इम्प्रूव यू मीट 15 minutes 20 minutes, आई विल इम्प्रूव योर कम्युनिकेशन और पर्सनैलिटी बाय दिस. डज दिस वर्क like online mode versus in person mode? What could be the more effective?
Okay. So, again, personally, if I have to speak, I would prefer in person a lot, because at the time of pandemics, it was my real life experience that earlier in the earlier phase of that pandemic, I was not so comfortable. I was very reluctant to get the virtual sessions at that time, because I used to feel that many of the times when you interact with somebody on the virtual mode, it's a very hectic task to do, and there are almost every single conversation starts with three questions. If I feel, am I audible? Yes. Is my screen visible? And am I visible? These three questions used to take most of the time in the communication. Most of the efforts from both the parties have to invest just to be on same page. Okay. And if you have noticed this particular step, these are all technical stuff, but it hampers on the communication also. That, of course, the message that I'm gonna say, it's gonna take some time to reach at that system, and you will be able to hear that. Meanwhile, it's the opposite end. If you are receiving a message and you are waiting for 2 minutes, now whatever I'm speaking for 4 minutes, it's gonna take some time till it will reach out to you. Then again you might be thinking, ये बोल नहीं रहा है क्या? Then again, at that time also you will start speaking. So there is a lot of gaps or barriers are there, a BB, when it comes to virtual. It's going to suck up a lot of time and efforts from the both the parties. Whereas in person, it's very well easy to connect. because most of the time in the virtual we have seen this much only, or maybe this much. That's the only thing we have seen at all. When it comes to, especially if we have to develop a personality through some sessions, it will be better if those are in person. Again, I mean, if there is no chance at all to come out to that particular step, and
Then
if
virtual
it's
is good.
only available in virtual, then you have to of course give it the full attention. But if there is an option for me to go for, of course I will encourage in person. But
Person.
for students or for learners, anything will work. Up to, it's up to them, I think. If they can communicate, or if they are able to learn anything in 5 minutes, it's the best job that they can do. That it's the best thing that they have done. So that's okay, because we have seen people yawning, people looking at their phones. Even in person has that kind of stuff.
It's just like that energy that you that we have discussed in the starting of the session. Like,
Yeah.
it's like people were like, I will do this, I will do that.
Yeah.
That just for the video. But what happens when you do in person? So I guess the things would be
Yes,
differ.
and I'll have this very good example also. Earlier at the time of engineerings, when we were there, and why I'm gonna say this, that engineering we have seen in the first year, all of the programming language like basic, let's say C, C++, and Java were there. Taking just a random example over here. At the time, the lectures were in person. We never focused on that. Being very honest, not hating software engineers by the way, but yeah, as a person, I'm saying I used to hate that. I used to feel it irrelevant for me. So I used to skip that. I used to also yawning at that time of lectures, and I used to hate those lectures and all. Those were in person. And after fourth, when I was in fourth year, now I've realized that I have to study these languages. No one is going to help me to do it in person. Now it's a necessity. Now it's my thing to survive. Then I have to study along. Then whatever platform is possible, I'm going to do it. So one thing is different in both of the sections. Same language थी, कोई बता रहा है. The only differences were the medium. Earlier it was in person, now it's virtual. Let's say YouTube or any other courses, and the intention for the learner,
Mindset,
for the
exactly.
learner, by mindset for the learner. I'm saying, because both of them are trying to teach you something. It's up to you whether you're taking an interest into that or not. If people are very well keen to learn, they will learn into virtual mode also. Everything,
True.
every word by word they will understand. But if they are not interested, उनको virtual दो, hybrid दो, in person दो, उनको कान में फुसफुसाओ, उनको पूरा booklet दे दो, उस चीज का brochure दे दो, it's not gonna help them.
True.
From the trainer's perspective, of course we will always promote in person, because we will be in a comfortable position to train people. We'll be able to interact with them, to see how are they reacting in the real life situation. In the virtual mode, they will generally used to cut off the cameras. अब वो camera के पीछे क्या कर रहे, we never know. I've seen very terrible examples also. I'm training someone, they're accidentally turning on their cameras and they're playing some games. Maybe they're turning on their cameras and some arguments are happening at the background. Like they are attending and piche mummy papa jhagad rahe and all that stuff. That is coming also recorded on the camera. So again, it's, and every single time for a trainer, it's a hassle to ask them to turn on their cameras. फिर लोग कुछ बोलेंगे, हमारा कैमरा चल नहीं रहा है, नेटवर्क कनेक्टिविटी का प्रॉब्लम, हमारे पता नहीं
50% shyness.
हाँ लोगों को आता है. सो यस, कैमरा का प्रॉब्लम है, नेटवर्क इश्यूज है, लाइट अप नहीं है सेटअप, तो वी आर नॉट actually sitting in a very lit systems and all that. So ideally it creates a blockade over there for a trainer. That's why generally we promote in-person trainings. But when it comes to a learner, a student, anything will work unless and until you are keen to learn. If you are interested in that topic, if you want to learn, if you have a cause to do that, no matter what the platform is, you will learn that.
You will learn that.
You will learn
Exactly.
that. Yes.
The moment where you have experienced success.
When my father got facilitated in front of the crowd, I think there was a time actually when we head up into a session. I was invited in a MBA college as a guest speaker over there, and they facilitated me also, and they facilitated my father also. So at that time, after my session was done, he stood up there and he was talking. I'm very proud of my son, and he has done in that particular age and all that stuff. So when he was talking to those students that you can also be like him, I felt at that time that yes, okay, now is the time that I've achieved every. If I can see a smile on my parents because of me, I think I've achieved it all. I've achieved it
Exactly.
everything. Yeah. So that was the point. And it happened in 2002 and 2019. Sorry. Yeah. So it happened in that time, August 20.
Amazing feeling, I can't just express that feeling. It's just
Yeah, yeah.
amazing. It's just beyond, like, you earlier used to think like friends is going to give you the, but that
No.
parent stuff, it's like, yeah,
Mm.
exactly. That was like
Yeah,
on point.
because I agree. Friends will say hi, yes, very good. Then
But
they will
that
have this poker face. Okay, इतना तो क्या ही कर लिया. Then brothers and sisters, siblings are always there to roast you up and to think आप तो कुछ नहीं कितना ही कुछ कर लो. Siblings are there to actually, and they are actually pushing us to grow more actually.
exactly.
So they will never. Earlier I used to think, why my sister is not appreciating me and all that stuff. Why she's keeping तेरे को और करना चाहिए, तेरे को इतना ही कर लिया and all that. Now I feel that she was right and she was trying to play a smart game so that I will push my boundaries further. And so, of course, at that time, I was not getting the feedback that I wanted. The only place where I got that particular appreciation was my parents.
Exactly.
So I got it, and they were getting appreciated from the crowd. So I was happy if they are enjoying and they feel that I've made them proud. So I'm happy with that. I think I've achieved a lot in this
A lot.
journey. Yeah.
The moment where you have experienced failure.
Very funny though. Okay, this is gonna be very funny. So, in sixth standard, by the way. So in sixth standard, there are two or three. I'll mention two of them actually. So in sixth standard, at the time, our school was celebrating their silver jubilee, by the way.
Hmm.
And at the time, I again was the stage guy, and I got recognized in my school itself as a stage guy. कि ये पढ़ाई में अच्छा नहीं, लेकिन stage के बारे में you ask him and he's gonna deliver every single time. I used to get so much of appreciation from my childhood because I used to do singing, I used to do dancing, speech, and all that jazz. I used to do that. So at that time, there was some function going on, and I was told to perform a povada. Now, for those who don't know povada, it's a kind of song in Marathi culture to give a tribute to our warriors. So let's say whether it's a Maharajas and the warriors that fought for us. So I actually prepared a povada. जैसे रटते हैं वैसे रट्टा भी था, that pitch and all that. And I went there and I fumbled over there. So there was a povada for Shivaji Maharaj. It was a complete journey for them. So there was a part of that journey where it was a assassination of Afzal Khan and all that stuff. मैं वहां तक आ गया, उसके बाद मैं भूल गया. And उसके बाद भी there are almost thousands of students sitting in front of me, and in the open mic I said oh shit, और मैं गलती से भूल गया, और मेरे को अभी भी बाद में मेरे को रियलाइज कि माइक तो चल रहा है. That oh shit also got heard by everyone. I cried a lot. I came back again. I decided नहीं 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 मैं करूँगा. Then I again raised my hands, went over there and all that. At that point I felt कि I lost my recognition as a stage guy. I lost it there. And I'm maybe the same way. I thought maybe I will never be able to
Come on stage
come on
and
stage
with that
again and
confidence.
have that retribution again to claim that. But in the 10th standard I didn't, and it went well. And another point where I actually felt that I failed was this particular time when I used to take sessions in this particular phase of COVID. After COVID, there was a time that market for trainers was getting impacted a lot at the time, and people who were into virtual mode, they were taking ahead of us, and people who were feeling reluctant to go for virtual. At that time, I regretted a lot that I should have been taken this transition by the time itself so that I will create a lead on other trainers. I still feel that if I would have done that earlier, I would have been somewhere else also. I would have moved a lot ahead in my career. I still consider that as a regret, but yeah. I mean,
Things
these
happen.
two things happens, and things happens for a reason. At least I got realization that I'm not perfect. Okay. And not every human being is perfect. I mean, you will make mistakes and you're gonna learn from that. Maybe it was a hard way for me, but I got to know about from that. So yeah, that's fine.
Top 3 learnings from your success and failure as well.
Top 3 learnings from my success and my failures. Always enjoy your success. Whether you have cooked a Maggie, whether you have made a chai, whether you have given a speech, whether you have killed someone in PUBG by giving headshot,
Oh god,
everything,
I want to do that.
whatever you have achieved, if you feel that you have achieved, better celebrate that, because that is the one particular thing that most of people are not doing. Either they will over analyze with the past thing, what has happened with me, or they will overthink about the future stuff. They will never live in present, and because of that, whatever they have achieved, they will never even take a time for themselves to celebrate it.
It still feels small. People like don't celebrate small, even the
हाँ.
smallest wins.
And even if we are celebrating our surroundings, इतना क्या कर लिया तूने, इतना क्यों,
अरे,
but
every
I
time.
would say that if you have done it and if you feel it's a success, celebrate it. That's number one. Second is, never avoid loving yourself into the process. I've seen many of my friends in this particular professional world, all the personal, all the relationships and all that stuff, once they get a setback or any kind of a failure, even let's say they got broken up with their partner, even if they are not getting the desired output from the appraisals or and all that jazz, they will be in such a stage that they will start punishing themselves, not eating well, not taking rest, taking some wrong ways to do that. You're not actually helping yourself in that situation. You're actually making things worse for you at that time. So I would say that in process, never forget to love yourself and enjoy that process, because if you're not loving yourself, then I'm sorry, then you're not gonna love anyone else.
That's
If
true.
you,
That's true. If you lack, most of the toxic relationship have a problem with the people who don't know how to love themselves.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the important perspective. We talk about toxic behavior, toxic culture. Where does it come from?
Yeah.
It is just self neglect, neither of your acceptance, and then you replicate the same behavior that you are doing with yourself to the
Yeah,
next one,
to the
either
next
with your
one.
friends, either with your partners. Definitely is going to vary that.
And third thing is, don't keep any expectations from anyone. Being very honest, not from yourself also, not from your parents also, not from your partner also, that they are going to do anything for you. Just imagine if they are not even there in your life, what you're going to do about your life. Are you going to give up there? Of course you're not going to give up. You have to survive in that. So every time, don't, whatever you're working, don't keep any expectations that something will come out of it. Just enjoy the process. If something has to come, it will come in that way on the rightful time. Never expect things to be get completed in your way. Everything will be as your plan A. You always might have to be ready with plan B or C, but every plan should not have any results in that. Never keep any expectations that things should go in this particular way. I should earn something from this, someone from that, and all that, because most of the time, we as a human fail in this particular stuff when we have expectations for what are we doing. If we are trying to see or to get something, it will create a pressure that we have to get it. If you're just enjoying that as a process, we'll never have that kind of expectations and all of that stuff. So don't keep any expectations. So number one is enjoy. Number two is love your stuff, love yourself first, and then you will
True.
be able to love somebody. And third is, don't keep any expectation. Most of the
Definitely.
time, expectations kills your own in the process. So don't have that expectation. Live your life. We used to have this why so serious
Exactly.
trend going on. I think I really support that. Why so serious? होगा होगा देखा नहीं.
होगा जाएगा सच्ची.
Yes.
Like it's very easy. Like अगर आप क्या ही कर लोगे, अगर होगा ही तो you can't do anything that.
Can you, and I used to say that can you predict your, let's say it's a very spiritual, it will go very deep and all that, but can you predict your death? Of course not.
Not.
Right. What if this is your last day? What are you going to do about your last day?
Do you remember this song? There's a song called "This Is My Last Day on Earth." I don't want to be on church, and I was like, wow, the amazing replica of like your thoughts.
Yes.
If your actually last day would be there, क्या आप खुद को इतना प्रेशराइज करोगे? क्या आप वो सारी चीजों के पीछे भागोगे जो आपको कुछ वैल्यू ऐड नहीं करेगी? You won't do that because you know it's your last day.
You want to live your life the way you want for that one day.
One day, exactly.
And that only
One
when
day.
someone is telling you कि this is your last day. अभी तो we as a human don't even know हमारा last day कब है.
True.
So the thing is that every time we are having some expectations and all that with life and all, we are dancing in this particular stuff. We don't have we don't even know when our last day is gonna be there. And then what are we gonna see up in the skies? We're thinking कि हमने क्या किया? At least you have to live that particular day in the way that you want to live your last day, by not keeping any expectations, just doing what you love, just living as you want, and then you
Exactly.
will be happy. As simple as that. Because we as a human, we start overthinking on things, it's gonna it's gonna make things ugly for us.
Exactly. That's true.
Yeah.
If a 13-year-old kid wants to work on their soft skills or anything
Mhm.
related to that, what could be the first thing that he or she can do right away?
Right away. Okay. So I can say body language.
Yeah.
Why I'm saying body language? Because most of the time I do agree that, let's say, communicating with somebody and talking with that might take a lot of things in language also, in your words storage. I don't call it as vocabulary, I call it as word storage. Very easy to understand. Like storage, you're putting some words and now you're using that, right? So yeah, it's gonna take a lot of time. It's gonna take a lot of experience also. But something in terms of body language, they can start. And we have been taught this from childhood, that whenever we'll go in any kind of speech competition, it's very funny incident that most of the time your mother, who's going to train you on how to speak, what are the general suggestions that she will give? Stand straight, hands like, okay, I'm doing this, hands like this, not focusing on the camera by the way I'm doing that, not focusing on the audience, see at any random point of that particular hall, बस उसको घूरते रहो,
And feel your
okay,
vibe. Like,
and
exactly.
feel that no one is sitting,
Sitting.
only you are talking. इतना perception अगर आप दोगे, for any moment that person is gonna see the audience, it's of course he's gonna fumble with his body language, then he will start shivering and all that.
Exactly.
So at least we can start training them how to have a good handshake, how to have an eye contact, how to have an smile in front of our face, how to keep our emotions according to the message that we want to convey, right? And how are we walking and all. And these are easier things to tell them at this stage. The way they walk, the way they greet us, the way they do
You can mold
handshake,
them.
you can mold them.
Exactly.
And later on it will come into their personality. Communication, of course, is going to be dependent on the surroundings and all that, but I feel that we can, on the easier side, we can start from body language, then we can go to how to greet, then we can go from how to have a communication क्यों करते हैं, why is it so necessity. Of course it should be in basics, but that can we tell them later on, once they will have a realization phase going on in this journey, and then we can talk about the superficial things. That is necessity in the next
Exactly.
one onwards. Yeah.
What would be that one message that if you want to give to people who want to work on their communication skills but they get feared, like the fear is the most important aspects, like whenever they try to do, or other perspectives, so what they can do, what would be that message for them?
Don't I would say, don't overthink about that. Okay, it's a skill to learn, and you will learn it in some time frame only. It's not gonna work like 15 minutes. The videos that you say ना 15 मिनट में आपका
Listen
communication
it,
नहीं
guys.
होता है. Let me be very frank about that. ये नहीं होता है. 15 minutes, it's not the sufficient time for somebody
Exactly.
to learn a skill. It's a skill, or
It's a process.
it's a process. It's gonna take some time. I mean, just imagine we took almost so many 20-21 years to speak English or in any other language, and yet we are not perfect in that. We're still making mistakes in that. So thing is that even if 20 years of education is not going to help us in something, maybe your
Okay,
15
but-
minutes are not going to add up a value in that.
Exactly.
So never trust shortcuts in this. Communication or any human skill is a long process, is a journey based stuff that you want to build. Because just imagine, just to build a habit, you have to do this consistently without interruption for 21 days. As book refers, huh, by the way. As book refers. If you build an habit for 21, then it will be your habit.
Agree.
Just imagine how much consistency you have to be, how much resilience you should have within yourself to create that, and how much interest you have to keep it in a consistent way. So number one is, process is gonna take time for communication. It's a skill. Okay, it's gonna take a lot of time. You have to be patient, but again, make it engaged, making engaging the process, or making it interesting, creating some fun activities into that. the same learning can be very well interested or can be very well enjoyable process also. It's up to you how you make it as a process. So of course, standard formats of any skill to learn is going to be the same, but the process is completely subjective to you. When we talk about communication, if I have to say English communication mein kya cheezein dekhni chahiye, anything, the condition has to be in English. You can watch podcast, you can watch any commentary, you can watch any cartoon also, that's fine. Content is completely up to you, the condition is the
Language should be
language,
there.
that's it. You have a lot of options now, you will set a process for yourself, but the outcome is standard. So of course, outcome is going to be standard. It's going to be the same for everyone, but the process in your hand. So think of the controllables and focus there only, because
Exactly.
there is your strength. Yeah.
True. So thank you so much, Mr. Sanket, for having us
Thank
and
you so much. Pleasure.
literally giving your precious time here. I know time is expensive, so that's why I'm appreciating you right here.
No, no, to be honest, even I enjoyed because when it comes to, again, most of the things get solved, most of the creative opinions come from communication. And
Exactly.
this was one of the opportunity to share my thoughts and all that. So
And
yes.
definitely people are going to have that benefits, because I literally want like people should focus on some of the ground aspects rather than they
Yes.
want to go for the upper positions, go
Yeah.
for to whatever they dreamed of, but start from the basic.
Start
And
from
that
the
basic is important, like we almost forget that, and you literally showed us how important to go on the basics, look at yourself, reflect your actions, reflect your words, and how you can further direct your
Yeah.
own actions. So really thank you for this amazing conversation
Pleasure,
that we
pleasure.
had. I'm just amazed. Like before we have started the podcast, I didn't thought that the communication and the stories would go beyond the topics, and we would about to learn some different aspects of it.
Yeah.
At least a little side of it, but yeah, definitely a great impact here.
Yeah. Sure.
So thank you so much for
Thank
creating
you
an
so much for
impact.
having me on the dais for today.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.